Facebook Live here.
Get some music coming here. Well, we're up on you. Good. We're going good. We're going good.
What do we got? How much time left, John?
Well, Bobby, you got.
Oh, 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5:56.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go to. This is good. He's running. Hey, it's good going out there. Yeah, Dandy is king.
Can you see anything there?
nope. Well, I see, it's faded. It's
What are you doing, Bob?
Just trying to get it, Facebook Live, you know?
Yeah.
Just trying. I think you just lean it like that, and it should be good.
now I can see John. I can see John.
Get this guy.
You're not going to use that, John?
No, I'm gonna use it in the other room.
Oh,
Because people want to break. See, what happens is, right now, whatever we're talking about, it's going on YouTube Live, and it's going on Facebook. We go to break, But with a recording device in here, okay, well, did you hear that the city manager is getting married to the town manager? Can we talk all, we talk all the stuff that we hear on the street, and it goes out over the ear.
Well, good.
so you are on YouTube now. You got on?
We're on, yeah.
Good.
I did something right, so we're good. And if this other person shows up, we'll deal with it. I don't know who the person is.
We don't know who this person is.
No, that's okay. We can handle it, Tom.
What's the name again? Oh, you don't have it in front of you?
Tommy, right now, everything you say is going out there. So I don't know, I have the name written down if the person shows up. And if I say their name, it'll embarrass them that they didn't show up, so I'm not gonna bring up their name. All right, so. We should have music going.
So right now I'm on Facebook Live also, so my friends are seeing it if they wanted to watch it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I get some grief from people. They want it. Which is great. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah. I see something just popped up on my phone, probably not live, but you always got to pretend you're live, that's for sure.
Well, I think the music's going now. Let's see. No?
Good morning. Welcome to the Dawn Patrol. I'm Bob Hoey. I'm the host today. Every other week, the guy next to me, Tom Bomo, you know, the one that rings the bell for Salvation Army over the past, 30 years, Tom? How many
25 years.
25 years.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks for everything you've done,
Yeah.
buddy. And then John McDonough's behind the camera, and the person that wakes up and tries to give the people a little something to enjoy. I hope that you, when you go out today, it's not that cold out. It seems like it's colder in the house than it is outside. About 65 degrees today. That's how I feel with sunshine, so we're doing okay. And I want to start by just mentioning something about Florida, Tom, what they're facing
Oh, boy, yeah.
Wednesday night. There's a person from Lowell, Nancy Camacho. I don't know if she's related to my friend Gary Camacho, but she lives in Myrtle Beach, and she already sent out messages, if you're traveling north, stop in, I got a place for you to rest your head. That's what type of person she is. So I just want to give her a thumbs up, Nancy Camacho, down in Myrtle Beach. Yeah, really, really nice gesture, because it's scary right now
I don't
down
know if you
there.
guys know, he's a friend of mine, Bill Day. He was a former selectman out in Draycott, and successful businessman. He served one term as a selectman, but he has had a beautiful motel-type place in Clearwater, and I talked to him the other day, and he basically lost it all. He's going to rebuild, but it was a tough time for him, so...
This
out there for 'em.
DeSantis, Thomas,
Yeah.
this DeSantis, the governor,
Yep.
I mean, there's so much debris in that area, the Tampa Bay area, all around Florida, and that's all they're doing right now, dumpsters and trucks, just getting rid of debris before the next one comes on them.
Yeah.
It's, if you don't leave, you could die down there. I'd get out of there.
Yeah. So,
We're so lucky up here, we really are.
yeah.
In the Northeast, you know, we have to deal with some bad winters sometimes, but normally, we can handle almost all the water they can throw at us. Mother
I'll never
Nature can
forget,
throw.
my father-in-law lived in Florida before he died for about 10 years, and he said he'll take a hurricane any day over a snowstorm because he hated the cold and the snow so badly. He had a couple of bad ones down there, but nothing like this. Nothing like this. He didn't, he never lost anything. He never, so. But yeah, it's tough times, and my prayers are out to all of them out there. And I don't know how, one after the other. That's the thing. It's two in a row.
Yeah,
First thing I heard this morning was some Florida government employee down there said if you are living in an evacuation area, evacuate or you will die.
Yeah.
I heard that too.
Yeah. A friend of mine evacuated. He was-
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Tom, how many more days?
28 days. I check every Tuesday before I come in here. 28 days. I think it's his to lose. My opinion is he seems to be getting stronger every day. All of a sudden, Camilla's doing interviews, and she's not doing a good job with them. But I don't know what you think, but I think he's getting stronger every day. He went back to Butler this past weekend. He's everywhere. They said, I guess Wisconsin, is that a swing state, or he's visited it 4 days in the last week or so. So he's doing his work.
Yeah, what I think is going to happen is this. I think he's going to win big. That's how I predict. Right now, they're just trying to catch him.
Yeah.
And I think he's done the right thing by not debating again.
Yep.
3 against 1. The debate I watched was ridiculous, I thought.
Right.
But I just want to stick on that issue for 1 minute when you talk about endorsements.
Yeah.
I love looking at all the endorsements she's getting, but endorsements, we've seen what
As
happened.
we saw with Karen
That's
Casella,
right.
endorsements mean nothing.
No, you know what I mean? You can have all the endorsements in the
yep.
world. If you have the right ground help,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
you're all set.
Exactly.
So that's coming up this week. Karen's got a party before her election.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
That's Wednesday night.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but she has no opposition, so she's.
But what you got to do is what she's doing. I've been in 8 elections, and you know a lot about
Yeah.
elections.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have an opponent right now, that's the presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to hold a sign for her that whole day.
Yeah.
You know, and even though I know she's a winner already, that's what you should do. You show people you're out to work. You're working. You know, that's what she did.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I never
She
realized.
didn't win. She won soundly. She wasn't like even close. We thought it might be a close race, and she cleared that clocks, which and she deserves it. She earned the job. She knew the job, no on the job experience. I think she's there for 2 terms. That'll bring her up to a good retirement age, and yeah, I said it myself. If she was 10 years younger. If I was Laurie Trahan, I'd be a little concerned because she got a good vote. Granted, part of that's Laurie Trahan's district, so.
Well, at 7 o'clock, we're going to have Bob Cox, right?
Yep, we're going
And
to
then-
talk about our party on Thursday night and a few other things.
Yeah.
Honoring Rita Mercier this Thursday night at Lindsay's. So, and also I'll go off track a little
Yeah.
bit. But the Salvation Army, we're having our annual Christmas breakfast. It's 2 days after the election. What is that? November 7th?
Yeah.
That's the 7th. And our roastee this year is Ray Booton, the real estate former regional school committee man. So I believe the mayor is one of the roastees that day. So it's usually, but this year it's down at Lindsay's. So we used to have it, down at the UMass Lowell Center. And
Do you know, Tom, 8 elections I've been in my life, I never went to that. Not one time.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
not one time.
Yeah.
And the Lowell plan, too, never, ever went to none of that myself. It's just the way I am.
Well, when
I
find
always
those
went to
parties-
certain people's parties that I'm going to support.
Well, if you go to these parties I've done
Yeah.
since I've been, in my 20s for crying out loud, it's all the same people, politicians. If I go to your party running for school committee tomorrow night, and I go to, and give me a name, any name out there, they're going to see the same people. All the politicians, they go to the same parties, and that's, you don't pick up any votes. You really don't. It's just a show of support,
You know, when I hear Rita Mercier is going to get Woman of the Year, it makes me smile because I would say that Rita Mercier for the last 30 years, right?
Yeah,
She's done
roughly.
a lot of good for the seniors, especially senior center.
Yeah.
That's one of her babies, always has been.
She's nonstop. She's
But
active.
no, it's funny though, and nothing against Rita. Her husband was unbelievable. Really, if I needed a campaign manager, that's who I would have had.
Yeah.
Okay, that guy would put a bumper sticker on your forehead if he had a chance.
Yeah.
He was tremendous, and I miss him. I really do. He was a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Rita's getting that award. And when I look at politics, I look at, I bring up the name Eric Gitcher all the time.
Yep.
What's starting to happen to me, I've always worried about Eric burning out. I mean, the job that the guy's doing.
Yeah.
You got to worry about things like that. But now I see what's happening on Facebook. There's definitely a lot of people that are jealous, number one. And number two, they're going to try to shut him up. They're going to say things. I've seen things like, what are you trying to do this to people for? Why do you put it out on Facebook? Listen, whatever you have to do to get the job done, do it. That's how I feel as a taxpayer. My taxes have gone up quite a bit. I still think I get a good bang for the buck.
Oh, yeah. Compared
but
to some cities and towns? Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never seen anybody, Tom, in my lifetime. I'll be 70 this month.
Yep.
This is a big month for me.
October 28th, am I
Yeah,
correct? That's it.
yeah. And in my lifetime, I go back to Eddie Alashe, was one of my favorite people on the planet at the time.
Yeah.
I'm just a paperboy type of guy going around trying to get that guy as many votes as I could.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing for Eric until the day I die, if he stays in politics, because, listen, you might not like his style, but there's nobody outworking him.
He's consistent.
Nobody's
He's
outworking
consistent.
him. Nobody.
He's consistent.
And I like what's happening. I think it's going to change real soon. I hope it does. And I see it happening. The mayor and all his followers. and he has some follow. The mayor has they all say, oh, it's the city
I
manager. Well,
I know you guys don't follow the column, but they gave him a good piece of press on Sunday, the mayor. They wrote him up really good.
they should.
He deserves it, you know.
well, they should. But
And,
the city
I know there
council,
were a lot of people that doubted he was going to be this good, but I think he's right up there with the top mayors, you know. Like you always say about the top good mayors that you
Well,
serve with, but
you
he's doing
need
great.
a mayor that definitely knows how to do something with the schools. You always need that.
Yeah.
Because it's a big part of this city, a big part of the city's budget, and
Yeah.
it brings in, really, when you think about it, a lot of money from the state. We get a lot of money because of the children we have. We're
Yeah.
58,000 of them.
Yep.
So that's why I think we really get the best bang for the buck, because then I've learned on this show that Chelmsford and other towns actually help pay Lowell's bills, you know, in a way. It's a weird thing.
Yep.
The foundation budget, I don't understand it like Evelyn Thoren does, but the mayor, to me, has done an outstanding job.
Yep.
What I'm real concerned about is the city council.
Yeah.
Not the mayor. The mayor's doing his job. I turned the TV on last night to watch the meeting, right? And I'm saying, what are you doing here?
You
I
didn't know it
lost
was
time.
Tuesday night?
Yeah, I lost time,
Done that.
and it was 7:30, Tom, right?
Yeah.
I goes, wow, this is a quick meeting.
Sure.
Because that's what Danny has already done.
Yeah.
No wasting time.
No.
Get through the meeting. But the
No.
city council has to definitely open their eyes and not be voting against Eric Gitch's ideas just because you don't like them. I mean,
Right.
you're not doing your job. And I'm not going to point the finger because it's not worth doing. But a couple of you are just doing it for that reason.
Absolutely, and it's a jealousy thing. He's a very popular guy, and like I say, I always say, I'll second any motion. I don't have to vote yes on it when I second it. They always say it's second for discussion purposes. Am I correct, Bob?
Yeah.
And he can't. Sometimes he doesn't get that, but he's everywhere. I see. It seems that Corey's at the mayor's everywhere. You know. So it's going to be, and when you think about it, right after the first of the year, we'll be talking about the city elections. It's just just like the town elections are going to be coming up in Drake come next May. You know, so
You know, and our buddy Ned Tommy that's not here, right? He
Yeah.
called me. I forget what day. I'm sorry, Ned. I haven't been myself the past week.
Yeah.
But I can say this. He called me, said, "You have any ski poles?" I said to myself, "This guy's beautiful." Right? I goes, "Let me check the garage." I went out in the garage and I had a nice set from Sweden. You know, I save all kinds of things. I said, "Yeah, I got a set. I'll save them for you." But he's going into a ski shop already looking for some.
what's he doing?
Walking.
Cross country skiing?
Yeah,
Like-
just
oh,
making sure he's
exercise,
stable.
yeah.
You know, it's a good
Yeah.
idea. Plus, it's got nice points on it. You know,
Yeah.
they're very sharp in case you need that also.
Mm-hmm.
After what happened to him, I'd always have some type of weapon on me.
Yeah.
You know, that guy almost got killed up
Hopefully
there.
we see him back after the first of the year. I'm
Oh,
thinking
yeah,
he'll rest
he's-
up. You know.
Yeah.
But
He's doing. He sounds like he's doing real good to me, though. So
Yeah. yeah.
we'll see what happens. We miss you, Ned.
Yeah.
At 7:00, we're gonna have Bob Cox most likely just to talk about the party Thursday night.
Yep. Yep.
Some of the things that that place does for people, and it's not just drugs or alcohol.
Oh, it's gambling,
Yeah.
eating disorders. It's everything. They do it all down there, and he is to be commended for what he's done with
Yeah,
that
he's
place.
done a lot.
And the grants he gets, and I said to him one time, "Boy, you must get overwhelmed." And he said, "I sometimes do." So but he's doing great. He straightened out his life, and he's doing great. And this will be the third event, I think, or fourth. I can't remember how many. This is the Person of the Year award. Last year was the city manager. It should be a good time down at Lindsay's. Lindsay's is always never have a bad meal at Lindsay's. You know.
Yeah, I always, the last name Cox anyways, you know, Johnny Cox and
Yeah.
the Cox family anyways, you know, and then the Rooks, you know, and I always bring up Andy Rook. When I'm on the show, I brought him up many, many times because he was one of our union leaders that was tremendous.
Yeah.
And how many times have I said on this show and City Life that unions are going to be one of the top 3 issues?
Yeah.
John, go ahead.
Okay, so this morning, finally got the racket working today. We got, we're on YouTube. we're also on Facebook Live. I figured a way out that if I could get YouTube up, I could put Facebook Live off the TV set in the parlor next door, in the TV room here. So what's happening now, if you look at, if you're watching on Facebook, you're seeing this thing right here. And right now, Facebook says there's 4 people who are watching us, which is wonderful. If you don't like this look, all you have to do is just click on this here, click on this bar here, it'll bring you to YouTube. Takes a second to get over there. But that's what comes up on YouTube. So either way, if you want to watch us on Facebook, great. If you click that link right there, it'll automatically bring you over to YouTube. And that's the latest thing. I got all the toys working this morning, so I'm happy camper. Back to you guys. Thank you.
Is that your City Life page, John, that you run when you say click YouTube? Or is that,
Yeah, City Life Show has a YouTube, so if you have one of these talking remotes,
Right, right.
you can say YouTube City Life Show,
Yeah.
and it'll come right to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know,
Pretty
well,
cool.
the
I'd
last,
appreciate if you guys would send me a memo next time that it's pink tie day. I would have worn my pink tie. But it's you
No,
guys.
it's work.
I have my phone on the table here, and it's probably Mickey Mouse not working, so I'm so glad that John's got it up on Facebook, because last time I did this and put my phone there, we still got close to 400, between 400 and 500 viewers.
Yeah,
That's what we average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I mean, I had people come into, I was out in Tewksbury, and I had people walking up to me, sitting there, babysitting the wake, and say, hey, what happened to your show? I used to watch it on Facebook. So people in Tewksbury, a lot of Llewellians, Fred Wilkie was banging my head last night. What's the matter with you? So glad we're back up there.
Now, Tewksbury doesn't have it on a regular cable channel? Like
Tewksbury, we're on 2 hours in Tewksbury.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
On
good.
Channel 8, and we're on Verizon and Comcast in Tewksbury, both hours, just like Drake.
Right. So,
We were talking about the election and Karen Casella's party coming
Yep.
up and everything already, Tom. And that's why I say when I watch TV or the news, I don't care what, normally if I'm watching news, I'm watching Fox. I can't watch the other channels. I try. I do try, but it's hard to watch them. It's amazing what's going on in this election, that's for sure. Now they're fighting all over the hurricane, Trump faking he was given help, and they're lying about this, and both sides. I mean, Trump saying some incredible things, and I feel like he's, like you said, it's his to win. If he
it's his
just
to lose.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
You know how they put Biden down in a cellar? I would put Trump in a cellar. I would put him in a
Yeah.
cellar for the last couple of days here. I
there's
still
that- yeah.
think he's going to win, and I think he'll win easy because it's just. And to my friends that are my age, one thing I really can't understand. I'm sorry, and if you got grandchildren, come on now, you gotta go vote. I have a lot of friends my age that do not vote. They want nothing to do.
They don't care. Oh, no. I have a neighbor next door to me. He said, next time I vote, Tom, is if you run. He voted when I ran for housing authority. He says, next time I vote would be if you run again. They don't care. Nobody cares. I think people just are fed up with it.
Yeah.
They see nothing changes. This guy, my neighbor, gets up and I was leaving to come here. He was going to work, and he'll get home after dark tonight. That's the long day he puts in. He's a hard worker.
If we can get all of us, especially like just local in Lowell's, let's say, you get 5 friends, talk to them on the phone, say, hey, you got to get out. Let's
Yeah.
go. We got to get
Yeah.
out. And it just multiplies. I don't think people think the vote even matters.
Yeah.
Really, in Massachusetts, I said, oh, listen, don't fool yourself. New Hampshire's becoming Massachusetts.
Oh, absolutely.
All right?
Yeah.
Massachusetts has a lot of deplorables like myself.
Yeah.
I know one thing for sure. And there's 5,000 prison guards, state prison guards, if that number hasn't moved, and I've been out of there 15 years. There's 5,000 of them, and they have family members, right? And they're all Trumpers. Police stations, all Trumpers. So if we get out the vote, we can win easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in
Yeah.
Massachusetts, I think if we watch our numbers, I guarantee you our numbers are starting to lean toward the right. They're going to start to lean toward the right because it's so far left. It's insane.
I don't even care if it goes, if it's down the middle. Our state has never, Deaton now, he's going to get his clock clean. Warren will win big, I think. Do you agree with that?
Elizabeth Warren?
Yeah. She'll
Oh,
win
yeah.
big. You know, I mean, the state is just so far to the left, isn't it?
Well, let's-
Tommy, I think, does she have anybody running against her?
Yeah, this guy, his name's Deaton. And,
She might get a surprise.
he's a
Oh, yeah. I think he'll do okay. And I think, like, look at Ed Kennedy, okay? Ed Kennedy's going to be tough to beat.
oh,
But-
he'll clean the clock.
Well,
That's
when
my
you say,
opinion.
I know, all I can tell you is, and I want Ed Kennedy to win.
And this
I'm
is
not
no
afraid-
disrespect to the
No,
woman. God
I'm going
bless
to
her
tell you
for running,
something
but
right now.
you know,
I think timing, when you run for any seat, timing is key. It's not a bad time to run for a seat as a Republican finally. I think you got some outside shot.
Some parts,
But-
in fact, they have one Senate seat, I guess, state Senate seat that looks it could go Republican in the state. So
I always go back to this, Tom,
Good.
and it was John McDonough, when he said, "Goodbye, Ed Markey." Remember when he did that? You were here, I'm pretty sure you were here.
Yeah.
I think he can.
He said, "Goodbye, Ed." Well, the only person, and I travel around Lowell a lot just to see the signs, who has the signs, and that's why I could talk more about Joe Reddy if you wanted to. Joe helped us, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I just looked and seen on Mr. Best Guy in the World, RDT, on Clark Road, right near
Yeah.
the end where the trucks come in. It wasn't out there so everybody could see, but he had a Kennedy sign was sticking in his property.
Yeah.
And just around the corner, Ed Markey's sign is in Ed Kennedy's lawn.
Yeah.
So I see that and I'm like, oh, this is beautiful, because, then Ed Markey won. And that's the thing about Kennedy, Ed Kennedy. Yeah, you could say what you want. I worked with him for 2 years, and when he was the mayor, he knows how to get connected.
Yeah.
And right now,
This is the second time the Democratic machine's lost.
yeah, but the thing the point I'm trying to make is, in Lowell, and many times I've been told that, like the football field out at the Greater Lowell High School, that was Ed getting that kind of money, $2.5 million. Then we had some overrun, remember at the high school that was in
Yeah,
about $30 million?
Yeah.
He got that money too. And not just for Lowell, he did it for Tingsboro. We live in Massachusetts, we gotta live like we live here, you know what I mean? What's best for Lowell? Lowell right now, we got that high school, and that's all that's on that guy's mind. That's it.
Yeah.
Other things too. He saved Tingsboro, and he's helped a lot of people. I think he got, when he went after that 30 million, and you can, in fact, find me if you want, I believe he got about 250 million for surrounding towns like Tingsboro and other towns, for school building type of stuff.
Yeah.
So, to me, he's important to me.
Yeah.
I have a grandson that's in that high school. I have a daughter that works in that high school. And you got almost 3,200
How many
kids.
years out is the high school? To be completed? 3?
I wouldn't know. You know what? And getting back, I'm glad. We should get a guy like that, Jeff Thomas character. And he hasn't called in for a while, but I know he should be on that high school committee. You don't have anybody that knows about construction at all on that committee. Nobody.
Yeah.
This is, Jen Myers took this picture,
Yeah.
but it shows the gutted building. And amazing shot, thank you, Jen. It's on Facebook. And let's see what else we got here. So, they gutted the whole thing.
No,
Wow.
I don't believe the whole length of it is done, but that's
That's the old building,
No,
right?
they-
It's-
I'm
That's
just.
one end.
I went by last night, and they took the name George D. Cooler Harris off the wall, on the outside wall, and that's the second time his name's been removed from the outside of a building. I just feel
Well, it might
like.
be taken out just for the construction
Yeah, it could be,
purpose.
yeah,
I'm sure
but
it's gonna
they're
be put back
renovating.
up.
I wouldn't think
Yeah.
too much has to be done to the outside, believe me, maybe sandblasted or something to clean it, but that building, the way they built things back then, I'm in shock. I don't know how they did it. I really don't. It's the foundation, that's what's good in this building.
Yeah.
Good bones, as they say.
Yeah, the other building, the foundation wasn't good.
But I
And-
was fascinated when Jen Myers put this up on her Facebook.
Oh, yeah, that's
page.
really cool. But at the same time, I would say maybe upwards of about 1/3 of it is gutted out.
Yeah.
It's heading toward Merrimack Street. They still have some work to do, but it's nice to see that. It is. But they don't have anybody on that committee, the high school committee, that knows about construction. And someone like him would be a
Boy,
good person to be on it.
The health department really went after some of the schools last week, huh? Man, did you read about that? I guess some of the kitchens were pretty bad in four of the schools. Butler, Shaughnessy, I forget what the other two were. They had, is it Rick Underwood?
Yeah.
Before the Board of Health, I believe, last week talking about it. So, yeah, it was in the Lowell Sun last week. I don't know.
And I'd still be someone, if I was on there, Tom, I'd be pushing to open up all our kitchens.
Yeah,
Clean them, open them up.
yeah.
I do not,
Well,
I
you should
never
go
voted.
ahead and get rid of privatization.
I
too.
am,
mean,
yeah,
it was,
I'm
you
very
know,
proud to say I never voted for the Amarac contract. Never. Fenway Park gets better food than the kids do in
My
school.
granddaughter is up at the Butler, and she says, "Yeah, Zsa, the food's horrible." She said she hates, I mean, she used to get the hot meals immaculate. They were great, but she says, "No, here that's horrible." So, but is that a contract, Bob, or how does that work? Do they?
Yeah, they get a company to do all
Yeah.
the food, but,
Yeah.
you know, I think,
doesn't have privatization, and it's Mike McGuire who ran the kitchen out there for years. Great job, great food, always kept it immaculate. And he had 5 schools, I believe, maybe 6 that he had kitchens in. So
we even tried to, I tried one time to get food trucks to come to the high school. Just park out front, let the kids go out and buy food out of the trucks if they want. You can get different type of food trucks there.
yeah,
No way. That will never happen in Lowell. Yeah, the company that we hired to do all our food doesn't want any competition at all. They just
Yeah.
want that register to ring meal.
Yeah.
And
well,
we've-
what's the school
we've-
committee doing about this? Again,
Well,
let's
you
go
can't
back.
get enough votes. You just
the-
can't get enough
What's the
votes.
superintendent doing about it? But as far as if you have the board
Well,
of
you're
health,
talking
Cliff
about
has a
it.
superintendent coming, some Friday, he's coming, I forget, I'll look it up. But the superintendent is coming, Cliff's been working to get
Like-
him to come back.
You know, when you're not around, Tom, and I've been gone quite a while from the school committee,
sure,
they don't send you all the paperwork you used to get when you're on the school committee.
yeah.
When you're on the school committee, they're right up your rear end, let's say. Here you go, Mr. Hoey, there you go, buddy, here you go, pal. All I know is I listen to certain people. Everybody knows. I could tell you who my favorite is, obviously. It's Jim Hall. Thank God we have Jim Hall working in the Lowell school system. When we have school committee people, it's going HR this and HR that and HR this and HR that. All they talked about was HR, right? They finally got what they wanted. Liam Skinner is now in charge of HR. But guess what? It's going to still be Jim Hall. You know, anytime we've had someone good in HR, right, go back, and I've been talking about this my whole life. Helen Flanagan, Dr. Helen Flanagan. You just mention that name around any older teacher, and you know what they're going to tell you? Oh, she was marvelous. People loved working for
She
her.
was teaching when I was down there, Bobby, and that's 50 years ago. She
But-
was
Very
so great.
kind woman. She-
Yeah.
Oh, tremendous woman. But like I just said to you, now it's a man they're going after. That's all. That's all that was. But again, they got their way. They amended a motion. I won't say the person's name because I already did it on this show. But what I love about Liam Skinner is this. Not only was he the best principal I ever witnessed in my 7 years on the school committee and living in Lowell my whole life, the best I've ever seen. I can say that easily. Brought class to his school. Kids would wear sport coat and a tie. Girls would be in dresses. At the any function you ever go to, like K-Star Closer Knowledge Bowl at the Butler School, always dressed in style. And guess what? They always won. They started to lose here and there to the Wang School. Wang was being run very well at the time, too, when I was there. But Liam Skinner, under him now, this is what I hear from the people that like to talk to me, I like to say, the birds chirping. All I can tell you, Bob, it's not perfect, but he lets us do our job. Once I hear something like that, right, he lets us do our job. That's what a good boss was where I worked in a
Yeah, no
prison.
micromanaging, right? Is that
Go
what
do
you're
your
saying?
job. Howie,
Yeah.
get in the kitchen, make sure the silverware's all set, right? You know, you just do what you're told.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, even though you might not like him, and he says, you need anything? You can come to me. Oh, I need a personal day. You know, it's just one hand feeds the other, but you got to
Yeah.
work. Laziness is the problem in all areas. I don't care where you are or where you work. I just spent about a week in a hospital down in Boston, And I can tell you this, PCAs, I believe that's the initial, and John always says, what's PCA stand for? Personal Care Assistant. They're not nurses yet. They're like in Northeastern College, or they're in BC or one of them colleges. You wouldn't believe how incredible those people are. That's the paraprofessional in our schools, hospitals, PCAs. Because the nurses, they got them bogged down with just one thing, really. One thing, medication. Medications, ooh, boy. And every time you give out meds, you got to be writing reports. So PCAs are worth their weight in gold. And nurses, especially the ones in the emergency room, Tom, some incredible people.
I've seen it
Incredible.
with my wife a few times in Lowell, and even when she had her hip surgery, her knee surgery, or just when she was in with a bout with pneumonia a few months ago, and then a lot of people knock Lowell General. I don't know why. I know a lot of people have had bad luck with them. I haven't. I've had good luck with them as far as care for my wife and care for my kids and care for myself even. So
Yeah.
I don't know why they get the rap. I mean, they're
No,
they're not a Boston hospital, but everybody thinks that,
I can speak for this, Tom. My wife was the one in the hospital, not me, but
Sure.
Lowell General Hospital, my wife, her first time with breast cancer,
Yeah.
she lived 18 years.
Yeah.
That's all a person cares about.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
surgery, you lived 18 years.
Yeah.
All from Lowell General Hospital.
Yeah.
Now I'm in a position that I'm retired. I can get days off if I need them.
Yeah.
So I can bring my wife to Boston, because the toughest part for a person is you got to drive there. You got to fight the traffic. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when you get there, you park. And these hospitals now, the one I went to anyways, Brigham Women's, and to me, it's
Oh, yeah.
beautiful.
Cream of the crop.
But you can't sleep in there. You can't stay past 8 o'clock. You know, they got some pretty strict rules.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible place. Just
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. So I'm not knocking Lowell General. Why would I ever knock something that are always in the top echelon? No, it's something we have here in Lowell anyways. Thank God we got it. Saved my wife. To me,
Yeah.
it saved my wife. And this time here, Brigham Women's saved my life. You know, and it's the toughest part is, so far to me, the toughest part was just worrying about is the person going to live?
Oh, yeah.
That's
the
it.
t- you always think, you never know what's going to happen. Even in minor surgeries, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Something happens and they, but,
You hear all the negative, you hear all the things if you need blood, or you hear the negative parts, you know, if we're going to do this, when they're describing to my wife what they're going to do, you know, and if you have a thyroid issue, well, they worry about that. The anesthesiologist, very important part of any surgery,
Yeah.
especially an 8 to 9 hour surgery.
yeah.
Those, we had a great one, anesthesiologist, I believe I'm saying it right.
Yep.
People that are going to put you
Yep.
under. Once they read your paperwork and see, this person has a thyroid issue too. Well, now they get a concern about you having heart attacks, strokes, so all those things come up.
Right.
And when you're the spouse just standing there helpless, you can't do anything except being nice to people, you're scared to death.
Sure.
That's
sure.
all. That's all it is. But then when you come home, it's a beautiful feeling. It is really. There's no better feeling than coming
And
home with your
you're
wife.
still with, we'll get to it too. Do you have like nurses coming in now, or is it you on your own?
No,
basically?
my daughter's a nurse, and
But they don't give any assistance, like.
I think she
like
could get
therapy.
it. No, I think you can get physical therapy.
Yeah.
We, if you're insured the right way, you can get about anything you need. That's what I'm dying to see. Not that I care how much it costs, but it's going to be quite a bill. That's for sure. And all I can do is say thank you to all of them. You know what I mean? And I took a picture and I threw it on Facebook, Tom, about the people that donate. You know, and they have it broke down from
Yeah.
people that have donated 100 million or more. You know, and like Bob Kraft, about 25 million
Wow.
or more, and Mitt Romney's on that for another 25 million or more that people have donated just to create that hospital. And the list goes on and on and on.
Right,
I mean,
right.
there's so many, it's incredible. And that's what Lowell General, to get better, they do. I know it's a nonprofit, but that's what they need. It's like schools. We need more money in schools. Imagine
Yeah.
when you say that.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
wonder, what are you talking about? Money, look at what we're spending. $255 million a year budget, approximately.
Right, right.
We need more money, Mr. Hoey. You sure do. You do.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He,
It's, and I don't know the answers, Tom. I
tough.
just know the superintendent of schools, and we finally put one in, and under Rourke, under Dan Rourke. Dan Rourke, when he came on, the first thing I see him do, I think it was the first thing or second thing he did, right away he put a vote out there, let's go. We're going to vote for Skinner.
Yeah,
We're not
yeah.
going to go searching.
No, he did it. He
Dominic,
did it right.
Dominic Lay changed, flipped on an issue. He might get mad at me for saying it, but I told Dominic it's the best thing Dominic has ever done. We hired within. Shows all your staff, right? 1,200, 1,300 teachers, all your paras, 400 paras.
like I said to you, I never met the man in my life, but I hear nothing but good things about him, meaning Liam Skinner. You know, he doesn't come on with us, obviously.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, really, it was Danny Rourke should get the most credit, but the school committee, certain people, Danny put it out there, Liam Skinner was hired. Guess
Yeah.
what that did? Showed the whole system, right? And you've
Yep.
got some good ones in this system. You got a career ladder.
Now, you know when the...
You could become a boss.
You know, you knowing you have inside baseball when it comes to the school department. What do you? How long do you think he'll last? I mean, we've seen the history of the school, the whole school system with their superintendents. Will
Yeah,
he last 3
I-
years?
I think-
Will he? Will it in 3 years? Will be saying, "Now we're done with you." Well, what do you think?
I think he's going to be fine if he continues with that, the feedback I'm getting.
Okay.
Meaning you can do your job. If you're
Yeah.
a principal, which, being a principal now, think of this, Tom, all the money now, I've been gone a while, so things could have changed a little bit, but we went to a system when I was there that here's your money for the Butler School, Shaughnessy School, Greenouch School,
Yeah.
Robinson School. Here's your money. There's your own budget.
Yeah.
You've got a school site council, works with the principal, and come up where you're going to spend your money. So there's a lot of pressure. And then Liam Skinner, who does he hire? Who does he hire to watch principals? Wow, this kills me. Pine School principal that I had, Roburge, Wendy Roburge. I'm going to tell you something. If I was a principal not doing my job, you better keep your eyes open. That's why he's to me. Now, I wouldn't have hired her, but Liam Skinner did. And to me, he has a lot of, what can I say, knowledge about being a principal of a school.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what made, I absolutely love the guy. But
No, you've said
When you
nothing
say
but
how
good things
long-
about him. You've said nothing but good things about him ever since you've been on here. And yeah, but I just thought again, he's doing a great job. But you know what's going to happen, Bob? We've seen others in the past doing great jobs, and you know,
yeah,
out the door.
I
you know?
think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
because
granted, Mr. Who was the former superintendent? I've lost his
Joe Boyd.
Boyd. He left on his own, but he saw the handwriting on the wall. I'm sure, right? He left
Yeah,
on
he
his
was
own,
a
but he saw the handwriting on the
listen,
wall.
different style,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like the guy. I still like him.
Yeah.
He came in from Boston and brought a ton of DEI with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what he came in with, because that's what Lowell was asking for.
Mm-hmm.
We need diversity, equity, and
Yeah.
inclusion.
Yeah.
Oh, we want it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to Boyd.
Yeah.
He come in with that. I mean, look at all the hires, and Linus Gilry down in Brookline, one of my favorites. A great guy. I think he graduated from Oklahoma State or Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Fabulous human being.
Yeah.
And I knew we were going to lose him. I said it on this show. You'll lose this guy. Will be gone soon. Whoosh, right out the door. It was a tremendous guy. But then everything's crashing down around DEI now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big part of everything, so.
And it's key, you know, hiring people like that. Diversity is a big thing nowadays. It's everywhere, you know. I mean, the city manager hired, I know her as Belle Hatzella and Laura. She worked with my wife down at District Court, and she was just honored by the Spanish community and the Spanish Radius, one or the other down in Boston. She's doing a great job. For the city, I think her last name is Dominique. But the great gal, and maybe we should get her on here sometime. That'd be great to talk about that stuff. Maybe we might reach out to her and see if she'd like to come on. But yeah, she's. I think you know who I'm talking about. You've seen her name. Tommy Golden hired her when he became the city manager. So,
I'm not gonna lie, I don't pay much attention to city stuff. I do
Yeah.
try to watch the city council meeting as much as possible.
yeah.
I basically focus most of my attention
course,
with
in schools.
schools.
That's your- yeah.
I just love, like, I'll give you an example what happens all over, and I'm just guilty of it yesterday. And Tom, you'd know the feeling of this. I get a call early, can you pick up Charlie, my granddaughter, at the Riley School? I said, oh yeah, what time? 2:30, yep. I fell asleep on the couch.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I wake up, it's 3:05.
Oh,
And
no.
I said to my wife, I called my wife right away. She's at her mother's house. I said, Michelle, I fell asleep. What time do I have to pick up Charlie? She goes, 2:30. Rip me a new,
Oh,
what?
man.
So I get in the car, I buzz over to the Riley School. I go to the front door because I know they weren't at the back door.
Yeah.
Principal opens the door as I'm walking in, and with my Karen Casella shirt on, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm walking and say, oh, I'm so sorry. Don't worry about it. I get my granddaughter, walk out, my granddaughter goes, don't worry about it, Papa. There was 7 of us
Oh, man.
waiting in the principal's office.
Wow.
Another great principal, the Riley School.
Yeah,
Oh, my
yeah.
God, he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just relates to the kids,
Do you know if we kid around about it, I kid around with you about it a lot. You going to make a decision soon about next year? Are you
No,
leaning against it?
well,
I know
I mean-
you're more concentrated on Michelle
I'll
right
tell
now.
you,
but-
I'll tell you something. I'm glad you brought that up. I have people calling me already saying, I think we got someone running in Belvedere, which is my district,
Right.
District 3. There's no doubt if I do run, Tom, it would be citywide.
Right, you told me that. Yeah.
Yeah, always would be citywide for me. But I'm hearing names up there, BF. I'll just say initials, BF. People are pushing this guy, wanting him.
Now
I
you run
would too.
against Conway?
No, I
Citywide?
don't know.
Oh,
He could
all right.
run citywide, no doubt about it. And
Yeah.
I love throwing it out the way I am. I don't care. This is what I love about this
Say the
opinion
name.
show. No, I'm not going to, not yet.
Whisper
But
to me,
BF,
because I don't know.
BF, I'll tell you
must know what
something
mean.
about him, though. There will be a hint for him. One of the best math teachers I ever met. Middle school. That's what I seen him do.
Oh, really?
Sat in his classroom a couple of times, and all I can tell you was teaching was going on.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And, we talked about things last time, Tom. I'm pretty sure it was on Tuesday. It was with you.
Yeah.
About seat belts.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something right now. It'd be one of the first things I'll push if I did run citywide. Not only are they safe to save your kid's life from an accident, any bus that hits 128, 93 on these highways today, kids should be in a seatbelt. And not only for the accident-wise, and I don't want to say bullying, because it's not bullying, it's just normal. You put third graders in a bus. Me and you sit next to each other, Tom, we're in the third grade. Chances are, I might give you a noogie, you might give me one, you put me in a headlock. That's what boys do,
Yeah.
okay? Now the girls, all they do is see the boys doing that, right?
Yep.
And then some of the girls, very few, but some of the girls also get into the headlocks and the pulling of the hair and bullying. And if they were locked in a seat, it would help that.
Yeah.
It would help that.
Yeah.
They're still going to be able to grab each other inside their seat, but
Yeah.
that's all I ever witnessed. Every time I'm around a bus, it's,
Yeah.
and I think it was John McDonough, I'm not sure, it could have been you. It's seatbelts.
Oh, yeah, we're talking
They should be in a bus.
They should.
There's no doubt
should.
about it.
It's key to anybody. I mean, I don't know about you when you started wearing a seatbelt, but it had to be like 30 years ago. I started all the time. A friend of mine was in a major accident. In the accident reconstructionist, so he said to the girl, a very good friend of mine, she said, if you didn't have your seatbelt on, you'd be dead. And that's why I've worn it ever since that day she told me that story. And it's, I know still people that don't wear them. You know what I mean? So it's quite a thing.
I remember going to the beach right down 110, Tom. We got through Drake, hit Methuen, and my next oldest sibling, my sister Barbara, blew right out the window.
Wow.
When we were
Wow.
kids heading to Salisbury.
You talking
And-
about that? You were talking about the kids and the girls and the boy and pulling out. I was picking up my granddaughter last week, and this girl come out of the Butler School. She's probably, I don't know, what's that, 5th grade, 6th grade, and she's bouncing a basketball. And this kid, boy, knocks it away from her. All in fun. It was all in fun. He was kidding around with her, but she took him and she tackled him right on the ground. But it was all in fun. They weren't really fighting. But it was funny to see this girl bouncing a basketball. This boy knocks the basketball out of her hand and she tackles him. But it was all in. It was nothing serious. It was a joke thing, fun thing, And if you can do that, that's good. We all goofed off, and had fun, So
I would
Okay,
recommend.
guys, a little bit of a glitch this morning. Messages, I can't get messages. Because I use my phone to pick up all the messages. And the phone is filming, for the lack of a better way to put it. It's filming for YouTube in the other room. So, comments thus far were patting Eric Kitcher on the back for the good job he's doing. And laziness is creeping in. And another one commenting about the good work that Eric Kitcher's doing. So I'll work to, there is a way you can have your messages come to the computer. I don't know how to do that, but my son, Joe, he's the geek in the family. He's off on vacation. He likes to go four-wheeling, so he's got a four-wheel drive thing. Him, his wife, and the baby, Luke, flew out to Arizona to go four-wheeling, so
cool.
they're due back in a couple of days. So when he gets back, I'll task him to fix that, but, so no, your text messages will be delayed.
All right.
I gotta run to the other room to get them in there, thanks.
But just to talk a little bit more about that, Tom, girls and boys
Yeah.
and seatbelts on a bus and all that stuff, I recommend anybody that's never been into the Doughboy Wrestling that's on the corner of Lincoln and Tanner Street.
I've heard about it.
Kazanjian's building.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. You walk in and see the girls wrestling with the boys, and wrestling's a pretty tough sport. I'll tell you, the girls are really coming up in wrestling. It's
They're
happening.
excelling in all sports.
Oh, but yeah, but
Caitlin Clark. Let's just go with that girl, the basketball player. I mean, they excel. Golf, football. I have
Yeah.
a girl that rings the bell for me every year at town hall. Her daughter is, I don't know, maybe 8, 9 years old. She's playing Pop Warner football.
no, I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
But to me, wrestling, I only did it 1 year, freshman year.
Yeah.
Wrestling's a tough sport, boy. That's a tough one. I mean, and you see some of these girls now, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it all leads to, like, Phil Marshall is the leader of that over there, and George Kakavas. I mean, there's so many different wrestlers. That sport has a lot of focus.
Yeah.
Bobby Milanazzo, 4-time state champion from the Greater Lowell Technical High School.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Riley, which pretty soon Bob Cox will be here. Mike Riley is the guy leading the,
Kitchen.
yeah,
Yeah.
culinary arts, teaching these kids. Oh man, that's big stuff. And I'm glad Bob's here today because I want to throw a plug out there too. Mike Riley was one of my favorites to follow. He wrestled a kid in Lowell, an Asian kid. I forget his name. What match that was? What a wrestling match that was. But
So getting back to what I
Yeah.
asked you, so you're going to wait till after the first year about yourself?
Oh, yeah,
If you
I-
decided to run
there's,
and you
well,
would
let
run
me put it this
statewide.
way. I was really upset when there was nobody running for school committee.
Yeah.
I won't let that happen again because you need
Right.
to go in there and just debate these people that are on the seats to say, hey, phew, why aren't you following this or this or this? Danny's done such a good job with the school committee leading the way, but I'll tell you, some of them are just sitting back, not doing their job as much as they should be.
Yeah.
But, hey, what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm just one person. It's an opinion show. And
Well, no, you're right.
I think when I say BF, the kid I'm talking about, he's our age, Tom.
Yeah.
One of the best math teachers I ever seen in my life. And there's a push for you, BF. You know who you are. They want you to run for school committee, buddy.
Yeah.
And I'll say your name pretty soon after I see you, because he could beat me in a fight, Tom. And he comes from Centerville. He comes from Centerville, I believe. His family does, anyways.
Yeah.
But that's all you need to hear, that one name, and it makes
Retired
Oh,
teacher.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel good to hear his name being pushed by people that are just involved in
Yeah.
schools,
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I think people you got to get some good candidates out there. And just this guy whoever, he sounds like a good candidate, and that's what you need. You need
Yeah, look at
people
what-
that are going to work at it.
Yeah.
And, like, let's just go back to Drake with Josh Taylor. He worked at it. He worked his bum off and was everywhere and did everything, and he was a good candidate. Yeah, he's not the flashiest of candidates. Who cares? I mean, you hear people still talk about he doesn't put a tie on. Who cares? You're getting the job done. You know, I mean, so
He'll be tough to beat now.
Oh,
Once
yeah.
people see what type of person he is.
Yeah,
he'll
and he's
be-
everywhere, and he does, you know. So I got to talk to him, get him out ringing the bell this year too.
Tom, look at Corey Belanger, right? When they had that problem about who should vote. Should we vote him in or let the city council do it? The city council put him in, right, without
Right.
us voting. And
Right.
that might become an issue. I doubt it. I think it will die.
Oh, yeah, I think he'll have opposition, but
what that
you agree.
did was brought out about almost 10 names.
Yeah,
There was at least, I can think of a few of them, I don't want to leave any of them out,
Right.
but there was about 10 different people. Once I seen one name, Dan Finn, I said, oh, there's the guy I'm working for. Because
Yeah.
I pick up on that, and that's what I love to do. I love to help people get elected. It's,
and the Gendron came out for that too. Then one of the
yeah,
Gendrons.
Gendron and, there was a
That's-
lot of good names came out for that seat, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
In redistricting, I think that's what did it. That's
Yeah.
what did it. You have a shot if you
That's
do
why
enough work.
I was from the outside from Drake. I was a supporter of that. I don't know if something like that could work in Drake. I think I can't break down where the candidates come from in Drake, where they live as far as selectmen. What part of the town they live in, but it's a lot different. And you and I have talked about this. Corey Robinson, Eric Gitchia might never have got elected. Brian Jeunesse never would have got elected. Not Brian Jeunesse. What's his first name? The downtown councilor.
Jeunesse,
Wayne
Jeunesse.
Jeunesse. Probably never would have got elected citywide.
Paul
But-
at the M.
Yeah, down district.
Which tried.
Those district things, and I think district councilors. It's
It's easier.
yeah.
I believe it's easier.
Yeah, and you got to. I think for the most part, my opinion is you got a pretty good city councilor. I mean, meaning like a Rithiem, the mayor. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better mayor. Eric Gitchia, those guys. You know, so Rita Mercier, obviously, never forget Rita. She's and that's going to be interesting to see what she does next year. I mean,
I'm not happy with the
Yeah.
city council, and
Yeah.
only because of the way something's going on. I just can't put my thumb on it.
yeah,
It's just, but right now, if they clean up the South Common, let's say that happens, because that's something they are focusing on. If that happens before the election, they'd all be safe.
yeah,
Bobby, when I rode by 2 weeks ago, South Common, 200 people.
Yeah,
When I rode by yesterday, 40.
there you go.
It's down to 40. Now, they're going to pass this ordinance tonight in Lowell, Massachusetts, that you can't camp on, I don't know the wording of the whole thing. Eric Gitchia is the one who's putting that up there. I wonder if he'll get a second, Bob.
Yeah, he'll get a second.
It'll be an interesting meeting to watch,
Yeah, he'll get a second.
but I too am not enchanted with the city council.
Yeah, it's just, but
Have you made
again,
a decision about your candidacy yet, Mr. McDonough?
they're not done yet, you know?
It's all about what
What
Mama
the
has
bride
to say.
says. So,
You got to remember, it's
She
all-
knows I'm talking about it, so we'll see.
the way I look at the city council and the school committee, it's 2 years. And sometimes 2 years, I mean, it goes by quick. And what can you get done in those 2 years that, you know, you have an agenda, what you want to do, and have you done it? Did you do it? I know one thing that I did, and it was an easy way to get elected to the Lowell School Committee. Just never, ever let a contract sit on the table. Who doesn't want a pay raise? They almost got 12%, Tom. That's blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Because of the fact,
this day and age, jeez.
that's the first contract I ever dealt with, 1995, I believe it was 4, 4, and 4, 12%. Because at that time, I told them I wouldn't vote for anything less than that. They weren't making the money they should be making. Nowadays, they're doing a lot better. Still not where I think they should be, but a lot better. We just made a few mistakes, meaning paraprofessionals. You know, when you give a teacher a 12% raise over 3 years. That's a nice raise, a real nice raise.
Yeah.
A para, it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know, because they're not making what teachers make, and para should have went up a little bit faster, that's all.
Yeah.
They made a good move on tutors. Most of the tutors are a retired teacher that loves, remember, this is the big part, that loves to do their job, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
They went from $30 to $40 an hour. I was so happy because that's what they're worth.
Yeah.
Easy. If I couldn't go do a pothole, stand there with an orange vest on because I was a prison guard, and they'll hire me for overtime and get $75 an hour.
Yeah.
Why isn't a tutor getting more money? And they did it. I got to give them credit. That happened too. They gave me a pay raise. I think that was Ed Kennedy that gave counselors and school committee a pay raise.
Yeah.
First pay I ever had was $3,000
Yeah.
a year, and went
Yeah.
up to $12,000. About $210 clear a week, you know? But it's an amazing job, really is. You have to just go volunteer, go in a bus. That'll be a good day for you. Go in
Yeah.
a bus.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And our system,
Speaking of buses, we did at the, I should have talked about this, no, was it meeting last week or the week before? Anyways, we voted to, we still got to get that, we have not received the grant yet, but the LRTA Board of Directors voted to have free ridership whenever we get, if we get the grant. So we had to take a vote at the last meeting, and so now it's a
So
matter.
free ridership all year?
It's a 10-month grant, and then
Wow.
hopefully that expands. But we won't know, we haven't got the money yet, so once we know we have the money, then it'll be official, but at least.
What kind of
we've-
money are you looking for?
You mean, I think it was like 30 million, something along that.
30 million.
Yeah, something along there.
they were giving out free buses still to this day. I know the ones coming in from
Oh,
London.
Lawrence, everybody talks about that.
They get a
Yeah.
free bus, we
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Everybody talks about that. There's, as our council said, there's good points and bad points to it, because like I say, it's often to say, but it's like homeless on wheels too. There's issues with it.
Well,
now
how
with
can you
people.
kick somebody off the bus?
You can't really.
Well,
You can't if they're being,
If you think about it, Bob,
Rowdy.
you have to say, when you get to the Kennedy terminal, the whole bus has to get evacuated,
yeah,
inspected for safety,
yeah,
and then you can get back on. I would put safety out there,
yeah,
because if I'm homeless and I go in there and I decide to spray cocaine all over the seats,
yeah.
how would the bus driver know?
Yeah.
So I think
That's a good
it
point.
would be wise
Yeah.
to just say, okay, when you get to the Kennedy terminal, everybody has to get off the bus.
Yeah, yeah,
And the bus will be out of service for 10 minutes.
sure.
Now, that
Sure.
makes, they're gonna go in, I don't know where they're gonna go, but the homeless are gonna find a different spot. And then, you can say that you can't you can't stay on the bus for more than, what's your longest ride?
Right. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I would say that probably the Tingsboro, right? When we go from downtown to Wales, Tingsboro, almost.
So I'd say
Yeah.
you can't ride the bus for more than one round trip. And if you have rules like that, everybody has to abide by them.
Right, right.
But-
When you said you saw the homeless decline on the common, wonder where do you think they went? I mean, they had to go somewhere, right? I mean, they go downtown, or they,
Well, Tom, as far as I know, they headed out to Drake it.
you know,
Headed out to Drake it. I know that with no town manager to push back on them.
we have an acting town manager.
I'm just kidding you. I have no idea where they went.
you brought up the Board of Health earlier, Tom, and
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking about what I'd be asking for is pest control, mice,
Very key.
loaded in our schools.
That was
They're
one of
loaded.
the issues. That was
Yeah,
one of the
they're
issues.
loaded.
Yeah.
Well, think about what happens though. They eat in the classroom. There's food everywhere.
Hey, speaking of mice,
Yeah.
this time of year, when it's getting cold, this house is 200 years old. We get mice. Like said, buy one of these electric traps. They sell them over at the Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. Put two little AA batteries in there, and electrocutes the mice. It works fabulous. I put a little peanut butter in the thing, and bam! I already get 3 mice. I was never that lucky before with the old
Now,
traps.
why do you say because the house is so old? It's just that they're coming from the the field, the park.
They're
No,
just
there's
looking-
cracks in the foundation here, there, and everywhere. Everybody, oh, why don't you just have the foundation? Okay,
Bobby Cox. Yeah, Bobby.
Yeah, it's
I left the door ajar. Lock
Okay,
them.
all right, we'll get you in. We'll get you in. All right, Bobby.
I left the door ajar.
He said you can't get in. Oh, he said, I know what he said. He said he shut it by accident.
Oh, I got you.
We're taking a break?
Yeah, we'll take a
Okay.
break. You
All
can
right.
head out there, Tom,
All right.
and we'll make some room, move the cameras around.
And when you have a chance, this is flashing here, John.
Gotcha.
Yeah, my two cats have already killed quite a bit. The mice are looking
Yeah,
for
cats
a
are
home.
good stuff to have. Let me put the music.
Flashing here, John.
Gotcha.
Cats have already killed quite a bit. The mice
Yeah, cats are good stuff to have.
welcome on in, welcome to the City Life Show, and if you were watching the Dawn Patrol, we appreciate that also. I'm Bob Hoey, the host today. To my far right is Tom Bomo, he's a host every other week. John McDonough's behind the camera, and we have Bob Cox from the Bridge Club here with us today. Before I pass it to you, Bob, I'm really excited about your culinary stuff that you're gonna have going, because, we have a program at Lowell High School and the Greater Lowell Technical High School that's called After Dark. And to me, it's so important for those type of things to go on, because so many kids need vocational school. We don't have enough seats. Everybody knows that. But that culinary program that you're starting at the club, to me, really excites me, because it's just going to help children, help kids that would have dropped out of school, or if they did drop out, I think you can take them at about 18 years old, you told me?
Right, exactly.
So if you don't mind hitting that just a little bit and then go on, anything else you want to talk about, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, no, proud to talk about that. Thanks, Bob. And John, thanks for having me here this morning again. Yeah, I love talking about this program, because this is something that's been long in the making for the Bridge Club. When we opened it in 1980, wow. In 2020, where did that come from? But, it was an early plan that, maybe culinary, or at least working in a restaurant industry, would be a great opportunity for people in recovery that were trying to, just jumpstart their life, and they couldn't really take, I hate to say a lot of pressure, because there was a lot of pressure in the industry, but, it would be a great, maybe startup job. And so early on, when we established, Tom Golden was actually on our board, and Tommy was able to secure a $50,000 earmark from the state to buy brand-new restaurant equipment. And so that the plans were, the equipment was put in. This is all pre-COVID now. And the window of opportunity was very, very slim from, January of 2020 until the onset of COVID, which was March 15th of 2020, so 75 days later. But in that interim, we were able to install brand-new kitchen equipment with the thought that this culinary program would be up and running shortly, and then COVID hit. And like in most cases, stymied any plans for that. So it sat for so long. But we just waited, because we knew when, honestly, when the right time presented itself, we would take advantage of it. And we were very fortunate to bump into a program that's currently being run out in Salem, Massachusetts, called Roots. And they're a nonprofit, and they target the demographics, which are not closely, even closely in comparison to Greater Lowell as far as the varied demographics. But they target the age groups from 17 to 25, and they offer opportunities for culinary training. And their program is great, and they basically they do a lot of community service. They help the classes actually work within the community while they're being trained. But the program produces line cooks, which was exactly what we were hoping to, find a program that would do exactly that. So when we met them, the connection was there. They liked what we were doing at the Bridge Club, and they actually offered to share their curriculum and some of their experiences with us, which was great. We'll take all the help we can get, and that's what we did. So we kind of took a page out of their book, Bob, and fine-tuned it a little bit for Greater Lowell, and we targeted the area, the age groups from 18 to 26. Statistics show that is the largest grouping of that needs to be some kind of vocational training post high school. So those are the age groups that we targeted through the grant that we had applied for. So part of what we're doing, and it's exciting because of where we live and because of the various demographics, like I said, that make up Greater Lowell. We have to kind of accommodate that. So the training as it goes forward will have that ability to pretty much follow in the same path as our recovery coaching, which goes into multilingual. So that's our goal anyway. I've already spoken to community leaders like Gordon Halm from the African Community Center. It's funny because Gordon's like one of my favorite people. He just is. And when I approached Gordon, I said, hey, do you have is there a chef or somebody in your community that would be willing to come in and do training in Swahili? That's the language, the predominant language that Gordon's group speaks. And he said that, I'm a chef. He does, did you know that? He's a chef,
Yeah,
Gordon?
You told me at the last meeting.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he actually runs a podcast in Swahili, teaching people how to, do different culinary skills. And so it was great. And but those are the types of things that we're going to be going. So we're going into these communities, offering them the ability to do their own training using our kitchen, which is going to be great. But our program, the foundation of our program stems around, really one of the perfect candidates, probably the best person we could have found to actually run it, which is Michael Riley.
I was hoping you said that.
Oh, yeah. And, like you're talking about the Vogue, and, Mike's the culinary director at the Vogue, and, the staff that he's put together to run our culinary program are made up of some of his staffers at the Vogue. So you got a group of people who train people culinary for a living that are going to be running our program, which is really more than you could ask for.
Yeah, Mike Riley's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and he's just a great kid, great guy. Lindsay's, I don't know if he invented the chicken pie, but that's what I like to eat out there, Tom, you know?
Oh, yeah,
He might have, but if he did, his father will never admit it.
Right, exactly.
That's absolute sure.
And so the big day's coming up for you. Rita Mercier, Person of the Year, that's
Yeah,
coming
this
up.
coming Thursday, it's finally here. It was just a couple of days away at this stage of the game, but, this is something we've done every year. Just again, COVID being in the middle of this, we were, like every nonprofit, we really couldn't do any gathering, any fundraising for our first year. But when we started it up, we made a commitment that it would be every year we would honor someone who has helped over that previous year. For example, the first year, the odds-on favorite and the person that was the most, evident that was deserving of it was Jay Lenahan. Because during COVID, honestly, the Greater Lowell Community Foundation stepped up, Jay in particular, would show up a couple times, maybe once every couple of weeks, 10 days, and he would just call and say, "You are the Bridge Club?" "Yeah, I'm here." "Come on outside." He wouldn't even want to come in the building, but walk outside, rain and snow, whatever, he'd be sitting out there with his winter coat and a hat and mittens, holding 2 bags full of sanitizer and gloves and masks, and they were a big reason that we were able to stay open during the entirety of COVID. So when the opportunity came, the board agreed that Jay absolutely was deserving of it. So, we had people like Jay Lenahan. The following year was Marion Ryan, following year after that was Tom Golden. And now here we are with Rita Mercier. And truth be told, I was just listening to Jerry Nutter on the way down here. And Jerry has Rita on from 6 to 7 this morning. Mm-hmm. And I heard Jerry say, "Oh, yeah, and, Rita graciously allowed the Bridge Club to honor her this year." Well, that's absolutely not true. She, her name has been in the running every year. But she deflects
And she doesn't
it.
like that stuff.
She
She
deflects
doesn't
it
like
away,
that
gives it to
stuff.
someone else.
Yeah.
That, she tries to justify it being, they're more deserving and this, that, and the other thing. And so this year, we just kind of switched tactics and didn't even tell her and just announced at the board meeting.
Yeah.
I think she kind of thought the whole board had conspired to do this. But in fact, I just kind of, kind of told her that was the decision that was made. And so, but she deserves it. She really does. She honestly, behind the scenes, in her role at the Sheriff's Department, especially being right where the Sheriff's Department office was on Summer Street.
Yeah.
She's in the middle of this stuff every single day. And I go up to see her, and it's mind-boggling because the co-op team is there. So people are constantly coming in, to visit the co-op team, and Rita deals with the same community that we deal with every single day. And sometimes even more, frontline stuff than we see, because a lot of the homelessness, in the South Common, the North Common, is right across the street. Really right across the street from the Sheriff's Department.
Right.
The Sheriff's Department has since moved, but rumors are happening that it could be a rebirth somewhere down the road, I'm not sure, but that's really ground zero up there, and she deals with these people all day long, graciously deals with them.
When you pick the Person of the Year, is that your board that votes on that, or do you just
Generally, we put it up for, nominations. Anybody got any ideas? And, some names have been thrown around. As I said, this is the first year we kind of did the end around on Rita. And, so normally that's how it works, though. We throw it out and get some names, and then everybody just.
This is my first year being on the board and attending this event. Is this like a roasting event, or is it just a?
No, not so much a roasting. I
good.
mean, that was saved for the St. Patrick's Day event.
Sure, that was good, yeah. Yeah.
But again, it depends on the people who are speaking.
Right.
I mean, you get like a Jay Lenahan, that was, not only
Right.
the honoree, but the keynote speaker is key on, any of these events because
Yeah.
they drive the discussion, For example, this year is Rita. Now,
Right.
Rita's a comedian without
Right.
knowing it.
Right, right.
And we have Steve Sweeney as the keynote speaker, who's, this got to be this got to be pretty funny because Rita's loaded for bear for
Right,
Sweeney.
right.
And all what these comedians need is someone to attack them to
Right,
unleash.
right.
So,
Not easy to follow her.
no,
It's
well,
not
no,
easy.
it is.
You always should go ahead of
Sure.
her.
You don't, right, you don't, right.
And there's a couple of other really good speakers that are going to be speaking at this event that I'm not willing to disclose at this point. But
Right.
really, that centers around the importance of organizations like the Bridge Club existing. We're very fortunate to have, been in an area that we were able to help in a very short period of time. But there's been great organizations for a long, long time doing this work, like the Lowell House, like CTI, on and on and on. But, these are the people who have been the standard bearers for helping people in recovery for long before the Bridge Club was even a thought.
Well, after this year, if I was on your board, I'd be considering you.
You'd be considered what?
I'd be considering you to be the person of the year
Yeah.
next year. I really would for
Yeah,
what
no,
you've done.
that's
But I wanted to ask you a
Bob's
question.
another one, but he doesn't want the. he
No, that's
doesn't like
fine.
that stuff, right, Bobby? You really don't.
The first thing I liked about you was when you had a connection to Derek Sanderson, because to me, he was like my Pi McKenzie type of guy, you know what I mean? There was something wrong with him, but he came to bat for you, right?
It still does. I just talked to him last night. He should be up here Thursday.
He better be. My wife's counting on it.
Yeah. My wife's a governor, but, he's a character, really is. There's a great example. He was, for our first keynote speaker, Mike Kunzler had planted a seed with me. I was talking about a keynote, just in general conversation, and he said, geez, wouldn't it be cool to have, some high-level, high-profile sports figure who had a great recovery story? And, we were trying to think of Chris Herron's last name, because I had somebody down in Florida, when I was in Florida, had mentioned, hey, you must know this guy. You're from Boston, so you must know this guy. No, it's like, oh, you're from Boston, you must know Mark Wahlberg, you must know,
Right.
But anyway, it was, Chris Herron's name was kicked around down in Florida in the recovery community because he was such a motivational speaker and he had such a powerful story. So we were trying to think of Chris Herron's last name, and Mike couldn't think about it, and I couldn't think about it. And Mike said, well, here's the deal. I said, he's got this great story, and everybody, loves to hear him. And Mike said, the problem is you can't think of his last name, and neither can I. My good point. So all of a sudden, as soon as I said that, the first name I thought of was Derek Sanderson. But how am I going to find Derek Sanderson, Bob? I'm like you, right? He's a boyhood hero. Somebody that's untouchable. You can't reach this guy. Why would he ever talk to me? You know what I mean? And true funny story. So I started asking around because I made a decision. I'm going to find this guy. I'm going to at least try as best I can. So I was asking everybody under the sun. That's my brother, blah, 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 blah. And it was Tommy Golden finally said to me, I'm pretty sure Bob Sweeney plays golf with Jack McGlynn at the Ipswich Country Club every other Sunday. So I knew Jack McGlynn from when John was a rep, Mike McGlynn's brother. So I reached out to Jack and I said, you play golf with Bob Sweeney? Yeah, I do, every couple of weeks. I said, could you ask him how I can get in touch with Derek Sanderson? And he said, yeah, I'll ask him. So Jack called me back and said, Bob Sweeney said for you to write a letter to Derek, give it to me, I'll give it to Sweeney. Sweeney will give it to Derek or his secretary, which Derek does not have a secretary. He like saying, give it to Tom Bomel's secretary, give it to my secretary, Bob Howie's secretary. It doesn't exist. But I said, sure. So I did. I wrote a letter and gave it to Jack, and he gave it to Sweeney. And Jack called me and said, Sanderson or his secretary will be calling you. And I'm like, you're right. So a week or two went by, and lo and behold, I get a call from Derek Sanderson. I had it on my phone for the longest time. I'm so upset that I had erased it, but he basically called and said, hey, Bob, this is Derek Sanderson. I hear you're looking for me to speak at an event. Give me a call and we'll talk. So after a few times playing phone tag, we had connected on the phone. And I got to be honest with you, I was tongue-tied because I'm talking to this guy that I hold in this, high esteem or, whatever, heroism or whatever. And he starts, and he lets go a few unchoice words, which I knew language wasn't going to be an issue. And but when I went to speak, I was like,
You're talking to somebody famous. I mean, it was that
exactly
time when we
right.
were
So I
grew up with
realized I
Derek
was
Sanderson,
kind of
right,
like
buddy?
stumbling.
Excuse me, John?
Okay, I gotta do the announcements? I don't gotta do the announcements, I'm gonna do the announcements. So your mics are still hot, so whatever you say can and will be used against you. You want an announcement on City Life, real easy thing to do is just send me a text, email me, whatever, I'll be happy to put it out there. Today is October 8th, so if you are looking to go over the senior center today in Lowell, the senior center is one of the few senior centers I know of. It's the only one I know of that serves lunch 7 days a week, Saturdays, Sundays, every day. Next Monday, of course, they're closed, it's a holiday, but if you go over the senior center today, they're gonna have teriyaki chicken with noodles. The only rule is you gotta be 60 years or older. That's the bridge, that's not the bridge, that's the senior center today. Bobby, what do you know about Karen Casella's party?
What do I know?
It's Wednesday,
Yeah.
9 o'clock at
Long
the.
Meadow.
October 9th, 5 o'clock,
I-
Long Meadow.
what
Just
I-
show up, no tickets, no nothing, just go.
Yeah, what I believe it's gonna be, just to say thank you, and, don't forget November 5th, even though she doesn't have any opposition, to go out and vote for her. She's just working hard right to the end.
Hey, good for her.
Yeah,
Good
so.
for her. So, okay, thank you. The Bridge Club, so, Bob, your microphone's hot there. You want to tell us what's going on with the Bridge Club since you're here today?
All right, absolutely. Obviously, this coming Thursday, the event that we were speaking about is the Bridge Club's Person of the Year. And this year, we're honoring City Councilor Rita Mercia. And the event is at Lindsay's, 810 Merrimack Ave, October 10th, 6 p.m. Dinner at 7. Tickets are $125 per person, $12.50 for a table of 10. Tables are filling quickly. We're going to need, if someone's interested in a table, we need to know like today, just so that we can let Lindsay's know so they can plan. So if you'd like to come to the event, please reach out either through our website, which is www.bridgeclubofgreaterlowell.org, or call the Bridge Club at 978-454-6191, and we'll make arrangements to get tickets to you. But there are still
You gotta
tickets
say the
available.
phone, see, people are gonna write the phone number down, Bob, so if you say the phone number 2 more times slowly, that'd be good.
Sure, it's 978-454-6191. Again, 454-6191. That's the Bridge Club, and we will arrange to get tickets to you.
And we got a nice picture of Rita, and that's the comedian Steve Sweeney. So looking forward to that event. Good job, Bob. Coming up this weekend, Father Lopes, Cadillac. I don't know if you've ever met this guy. Wonderful, wonderful man. He's the pastor of 2 churches in Lowell: Holy Family Parish, which is out in South Lowell on Grafton Street, and St. Anthony's Church right on Back Central Street. He's going to be installed this weekend, Saturday at Holy Family Parish, 7 p.m. So he's going to be installed as the permanent pastor. The Bishop, Robert Hennessy, is going to be there. So the whole community's pretty excited about this guy. He's got a smiling personality, and we welcome this guy. He's going to be a good pastor, and looking forward to working with him and attending his masses. There's one for St. Anthony's, too. Where's St. Anthony's one? Okay, here's St. Anthony's. So St. Anthony's, they're going to install him, Father Lopes, on Sunday. So Saturday is going to be at the Holy Family. Sunday, it's going to be at St. Anthony's. And again, Bishop Hennessy will be there. He's going to install Father Louis Lopes as the permanent pastor. Coming up this weekend is for Al Mello. They're going to have a monument dedication this weekend, Saturday, October 12th at 11 a.m. At the the parking lot of the Portuguese American Club. at the corner of Veterans Way and Chapel Street.
Doesn't look like Glenn.
It's gonna be 10 o'clock Saturday morning, so I hope they have good weather that day. And Keith Rudy, he's the chief, he's the guy making this happen. And he's sent this note to me, and that's his phone. If you want more information, you can call Keith up, and he'll give you whatever information you're looking for. Coming up this weekend also, Saturday, October 12th, at the Fusion Church over in Pawtucketville, they're having the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra is gonna be there. Bohemian Rhapsodies and Hungarian Dreams is what I'm looking at right here, so looks like a good time. And I think that's it for today, kids. Back over to you, Bob.
Welcome back to City Life. Bob, a couple of things. Do you have music at this party Thursday
We
night?
do not.
You do not?
Yeah, it's not really a party. It's not fun, set up for that.
Okay. And number two, how can someone help that, say, doesn't go to that party, but they want to donate to the Bridge Club? Do you need anything like clothing or paper or anything?
We're always taking clothing. The donations for clothing have been widely used in the reentry programs especially. We get people coming through the jail system. We have agreements with not only the Middlesex County Sheriff's Office, but now with the Department of Corrections for the state. So we're picking up people in Bridgewater, in Knollwood, in MCI Shirley, Gardner, all over the state, and bring them back to the Bridge Club, should they, if they're from this area or they want to, start their life over here. And, as soon as they get there, the first thing we do is bring them in and offer them clothing. So they can go in and, the girls do a fantastic job. These are all donated items that are all cleaned and, hung and sized, so it looks like Filene's basement in some of these rooms. You walk in, and it's really impressive. They got everything from jeans, depending on, what the person is looking for employment, or if they're going for an interview. We've got, suits and, whatever, what have you, but it's all free. They just come through, they go through, take what they want, fill a bag, and walk out with, enough clothing to get going. And we set them up with, the ability to get through the Department of Transition Assistance, get them a card for food stamps, and then figure out, what, if any, employment opportunities are available for them, or vocational training opportunities, and we go from there. So to answer your question, Bob, we're always taking clothing, men's clothing, mostly right now. We haven't really get into our women's program yet, but that is coming. We have a reentry grant that we're seeking for specifically reentry for women being released from incarceration. Hopefully that will come after the first of the year.
Yeah.
But men's clothing right now,
A while
absolutely
back, a friend of mine, Bob McGuire, said to me, "You got all those extra clothes because you lost some weight." He said, "Bring them
Hey, I just
down."
want to say happy birthday to Patty Kerwin Kelty. Cadillac of a gal. She watches the show a lot on Facebook. Bob, if I have an overeating problem, I don't want to
You do,
brag.
don't
what do you mean if?
You do.
I like my donuts, but if I want to join Overeaters, the overeating program that you have down there, how do I go about doing that? Because I don't want to call, hey, I'm really embarrassed about this. I don't want to make a
Yep.
big deal out of it. So how do I slide in the door without a lot of spotlight on me?
Right, and that's not unlike anything, John, anybody battling any addiction, it's an uncomfortable thing to admit that something is, controlling you. So the easiest thing to do is just to go on the website and go into meetings. There's a scroll down to meetings. Look at the meetings. There's at least 3 Overeaters meetings. Check that, 2 right now, I think. But check out the times. I believe there's one on Thursday nights and there's one on Monday nights right now.
I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to go Bridge Club Lowell.
Yeah, and you can simply show up at one of the meetings. That's all you have to
So
do.
I go in Google, put in Bridge Club, this comes up. Going to click on this thing here. That's your brookrecovery.com. Is that good or no?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it,
You're not
Bob.
sharing the screen
Oh,
yet, John.
sorry yet. There you go, okay.
There you go.
So scroll down
Go to the
here,
website.
Which, this is pushing me off the Charles River. Now,
Yeah,
where
go
am I?
over to the website, go over to the right under Bridge Club and click on website.
Okay, right here.
Yeah, click on that.
Okay. So now I'm over
Yeah,
at your
go up and then
website.
there should be a scroll down. See, look, right there, meetings, types and time.
Okay,
Click
right
on
here, yep.
that.
That's right underneath the picture. So if you look at the pictures, the pictures scroll. So you click on this guy right here,
Yep,
and then meetings and types.
yep, scroll down and there should be a list of the, there you go.
So if I want to go to, well, this is kind of like code. What's Daily Reflections?
It's just the name of the group. Every meeting
Oh, I
has its
see. I
own.
got on the right-hand side, AA. That must be Alcoholics Anonymous.
Correct. So OA, the third one down, OA, you see
Let me
it.
shrink this up so you can see it on your screen there. Okay, now you can see a little bit better. I think you got all the details.
Can you reduce that screen at all, John?
You seeing what you want to see there? Or you want-
Yeah, just the only thing missing is the day. There you go, the days of the week.
Okay. So
see
you're
over
gonna
at the
scroll
far
down
left.
here. So if I want to go to Overeaters, that must be,
It's Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30.
what's it called?
Overeaters Anonymous.
Overeaters.
Yeah,
Well, what's the code on the right-hand side?
OA, Overeaters Anonymous.
Okay, right here.
Yeah.
OA,
Yeah, yeah.
yep. So I want to go to this guy on Monday night. So click on this, or how do I just show up?
You just show up. Or you can call. I mean, we can make arrangements to meet you,
So I could just walk in cold
Just
turkey?
walk in. That's all you
No
gotta do.
name, no nothing, just
Nope.
whiz Overeaters and
Yep, happens every day.
very easy to do.
Yep. And you know what? People are walking in that, you walk in that room and people are facing the same thing you're facing. They know what you're going through. It's not unlike an AA meeting or an NA meeting or anything else. It's,
But I had somebody in the audience, they asked me, well, how do I go down and do it? I don't want to spread my name all over the place. I said, I'll ask Bob when he's here.
that's it, and then you don't have to, we don't even take your name, we need your name. That's why they call it anonymous. We'll deal with first names, sometimes first names, last initial, if there's multiple people with the same first name. But, that's the beauty of it. You walk in there and no one really needs to know who you are or what you do.
How are we doing on social media addiction? Anybody got that program going yet, or pornography going yet?
What is that again?
Social media, being addicted to your phone?
Yeah, there is a meeting on Thursday nights called All Addictions. If you looked on the list, I believe that starts at 6:30 or 6:15
All addictions, yep,
on Thursday.
6:30.
And that
yep.
covers everything under the sun. So, it's a pretty good-sized group, and, they'll cover anything that the subject matter is up for grabs. I mean, everybody goes in and talks about whatever it is they're there for. And it covers exactly what you had said.
Okay,
The social media is something that was brought up to us recently by the school department because we're just recently, right now, we're trying to put together the schedule to be able to go into the school systems with an addiction awareness program. So we're going to be talking about behavioral health, drugs and alcohol, mental health, depression, anxiety, things that the kids deal with every day. And when I was talking to Andrew Rosenshine from the school department, I said, is there anything that particular that, other than overeaters, other than, the normal, if you will, addictions, is there anything else you'd like us to try to cover? And he mentioned, what about social media addiction? Honestly, we hadn't had a program in place for it. And I said, you know what? Watching my kids and my grandkids, what a great idea.
yeah, we were out to dinner last night, and you look around the room,
Oh,
the
it's
restaurant,
brutal.
and you got couples sitting there, they're both on their phone.
Yeah. My 4-year-old grandson, he's on his iPad. He's on his iPad. I mean, what are you kidding me?
First thing they get in the car when I picked them up to babysitter, can I have a phone? Can I have a phone? You bring a phone with you? It's amazing.
Yeah,
how they just.
it really is.
Yeah, it's a
So
big
we
thing
found
nowadays.
a.
Not just with kids, older
No,
people too.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. We have a therapist that currently works for Trinity Care Associates, which is the mental health clinic, medically assisted treatment clinic that's in the Bridge Club. One of his clinicians is currently doing a program in the Tingsboro school system addressing exactly that, social media addiction. So she became part of our team. When we went in to meet with the Lowell School Department, she accompanied us, and she will be part of the team, along with Mike Miles, Dave Nangle, myself, and others that have life experience. So,
You had talked earlier about 2 minutes ago about how, it's all anonymous, it's all, nobody knows, everybody's in that same boat. But there must have been times when you're sitting there and somebody walks in that you might know, and it's probably embarrassing. Somebody, say well-known or whatever, and not to mention names, of course not, but they're probably embarrassed when they see you because they know you and you're saying, "What are you doing here?" And has that happened? I'm sure it has.
You know, it happens all the time,
Yeah.
but the question, what are you doing here, doesn't exist because we know what they're doing there.
All right.
The same
No,
thing.
they might be just, you might think they're coming to say hello to you. That's all, just visit
Yeah,
you.
probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
That happens all the time, Tom,
Yeah.
and it's funny because you see people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
I mean, this disease is very non-selective.
Oh, yeah?
It doesn't care, it doesn't matter, what color your skin,
So Bobby,
how
the new
much money you
people,
have.
looking at the pictures of the, inside the Bridge Club, the chairs are all set up in straight lines. The new people sit up front, or you just sit, because I would think
Sit
if I
wherever you
want
want.
to, for my first time, I want to slide in the back and not be noticed by
Yeah,
anybody.
everybody does that, pretty much, it's not unusual, usually that's where the coffee is, and, whatever's comfortable, everybody knows in that room what a newcomer's going through, because they've all been there,
Very good point.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'll tell you one thing, John, it's always impressed me, it still does, is that, say there's a meeting going on, the door opens, and people might glance over to see who's coming in the door, and you see someone who is, just at wit's end, they're at the jump-off point. And you know what, they're all dragged down, all beaten up, and they're showing up because they're desperate, and they need help. They don't want to ask, they're embarrassed, whatever the case might be. They walk through that door, and the room turns around and they look, and it's the only place I've ever been, anywhere, including the Catholic Church, where if they could, every person in that room would take a little bit of that person's pain away because they've been there and they know what they're going through. And the empathy that exists within the halls of AA and NA, it's like none I've ever seen anywhere else. It's the most impressive thing I've ever seen. It's a group of like-minded people that are just there to support each other. And it's nothing more than that. Whether it's OA, NA, AA, it's amazing. It actually is amazing.
I think there's only one thing, working in a prison for 20 years, I noticed one thing about addiction is it's amazing when people are saved. That they come to jail, like you said, and they're just one step away from death, and 90 days later, the body can come back really strong. It's amazing what the human body can go through. And when you do see someone that's, let's say, straight for a year, 2 years, time really doesn't matter because you can relapse at any time if you don't keep working at it. But just to see someone get through it is incredible. There's no better feeling than that.
Right, and you're right, and the sad part of what you just said, Bob, is that the body can react, and especially in a controlled environment like a prison or something like that. Obviously, someone can't drink, can't
Right.
use drugs, or at least they're not supposed to. But, one of the things that gets kicked around and it's very, very obvious, is that the body can recover, but the mind is a different, the mind is a different thing. And, this really isn't a drinking disease, it's a thinking disease, and it really is. It exists in people's minds. And that's the scary part. It really is, because an alcoholic or an addict, in recovery even, is still an alcoholic or addict. It is a disease. It's not unlike, people don't believe this, and it took me a long time to get my head wrapped around it too, that this is a disease, not unlike cancer, not unlike diabetes. I mean, once people have this disease, it does not go away. It's incurable, and people will die from it.
Do you have a program down there, and I think it's called Al-Anon, people that...
Al-Anon, sure.
That live with alcohol, they're dealing with, do you have that? Do you have a
We've
program?
had it in and out.
Okay.
Some of the.
I've heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great program, and it's for the families.
Right.
Of alcoholics to learn how to live with an alcoholic, because the alcoholic or addict in a family is not the only one affected. Every family member is affected by that disease. It's true. I mean, think about it. How many marriages have been broken up over it? How many families have been broken up over it? It's really a tragedy.
Yeah.
So the Al-Anon group is really something that really helps the families, the spouse, the children, to really deal with the alcoholic, to try to understand them and understand it's not their fault. And, it's not, no matter how much love you have for that person, how much support you have for that person, you could be Sigmund Freud, and unless that person is ready for recovery, there's not a darn thing you can do about it. And it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
And most of the time, all they need is one person to stick with them. Just don't give up on them. That's
A lot of
my.
times you're right, Bob.
Oh, boy, it's incredible.
Yep.
They need that one person,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So many times, people have attempted to be that one person and gotten frustrated and walked away.
Yeah.
And that's when the addict or the alcoholic says, well, see, I'm beyond hope.
Yeah.
I'm beyond help.
Yeah,
And,
I had a situation, it had to be 40 years ago, as a friend of mine got in an accident, and I called his wife, and she said, I can't do it anymore. She said, I get these calls, and I try, you won't go for help. And finally, then he went for help. That was the last straw, but she finally said, I can't do it anymore. She said, would you go get him? Would you? And it was sad, because it's a family member. It was her husband, and you have people that are, say they're an alcoholic for 10 years. Do you still have that person still attending meetings?
Of course.
That's what I've heard.
30
yeah.
years, 40
yeah,
years, 50
they'll say,
years.
I need a meeting. I have to still, it's like
Yeah.
their safety net, right? It's like their,
It's, see, people.
Safe place,
Terminology,
safe place, yeah.
people call it their medicine, but
Yeah.
I mean, the important part of what you just said, Tom, is that the people who have been around that use AA, use the support group, for lack of a better term, as a lifeline, really. They understand the importance of coming every single day and showing up at meetings. You show up at meetings even when you don't want to go, because of the importance of the possibility of you might say something on one day, one given day, you might say something you've said 100 times over, and that one newcomer, all of a sudden it clicks for that person that day. You know what I mean? That's the importance of it. And you hear the same people say the same thing over and over sometimes. And then one day, and it's happened to me, all of a sudden one day, I look at it in a different light. Wow, that makes sense to me now. And the value that you get from it. The results of the program itself speak for itself. The thing works. You just got to give it time.
So Mark Kratman says, good morning to everybody.
Oh,
Morning, Mark.
Yeah.
Good show, good to
Good
see you.
morning, Mark.
I think Mark got a big night ahead of him tonight. I think they're interviewing their town manager candidates tonight in Tewksbury. I saw that in the paper.
I almost, when you work at a prison guard, let's say, okay, for 20 years, you tend to talk to inmates quite a bit because they'd have nobody to talk to anyway. So when you're walking by, sometimes they'll stop to talk. But I did a pretty big interview of all inmates that I ever met about what was the first thing that got you started in life. A lot will say divorce, lost my mother or father, and then number 2 will be alcohol. I always hear alcohol. I did. I still, it's an opinion show here, and people say to me, well, drugs are a big problem. Drugs, no doubt, drugs are a big problem. I still think alcohol is just a little bit ahead of drug problems. Alcohol is a big issue in prison, and they can make it there. Home brew, they call it, but alcohol has touched, when you said alcohol has touched all families, I think you're right.
Bob, why you have the attention of the superintendent of schools in Lowell, why don't they teach the probability of addiction in high school? Kids don't realize they're getting
I think
themselves.
high school's way too late, John. Honestly, I don't think it's way too late. It is way too late.
So grammar school?
Absolutely. We're going to be
Yeah.
attacking grades 5 through 8. That's what we want to do. And you know what? Honestly, how many people, you don't have the access to it that we have, but, almost to a person, if someone's starting their story at an AA meeting, started drinking at 12, 13, 14 years old. It's not uncommon. If people can say it's not, that's ridiculous. It's not ridiculous. Look around.
That's
Look at your own
reality.
family. If you think it's ridiculous, you're not looking, you're not paying attention, or you don't want to admit it. That's the reality of it.
When I think about it, when I was a kid, my friends' dads would take a magic marker where the vodka was and where the whiskey was,
Absolutely.
and they wasn't wise enough to just fill it up with water when they were done
Of
with it.
course, that's why they do it. That's because the fathers would always catch on. This isn't JB. This isn't, watered down. But of course, that's been going on for centuries, probably.
But that's what brings to mind. I remember one of my friends, that's what he did. He'd just show me how to do it. I said, okay.
To your point, though, the reality of thinking that you're going to put this into high school and it's going to make an impact, it's
So
not.
grammar school?
Without question.
You said you're already dealing with somebody from the school department, right?
What's
On
that?
these issues. You're dealing with somebody from the school
Yes.
department on these issues?
And we've already met with them, with the group that I just had mentioned, Mike Miles, Dave Nangle. Dave's going to bring the gambling aspect of it. Talk to Dave about Dave for a second. Dave came a year and a half or 2 years ago, and not unlike Tom Golden forecasting the opioid crisis in the Merrimack Valley, Dave said, you know what, Bob, I really see that this online gambling is going to be an explosion with kids. Because, kids, I mean, you can put blocks up online, you can, you go, are you 18 years old? Oh, of course I am. But, as quickly as blocks are set up, there's people finding ways around them. So these kids are using online gambling all the time. And Dave was saying, it's a matter of an explosion. Think about down the road, a kid starts crushing his credit when he's, 13, 14, 15 years old. He's got a long road to hoe going forward. So I mean, Dave's insight into the gambling, Dave has now been approached on both the state and national level about serving on boards about online gambling.
About a month ago, Bobby brought in a guy by the name of, what was O'Keefe's first name? Brian?
Brian.
Brian O'Keefe.
Brian O'Keefe. And that black cup on the desk there represents what he talked about. The drug cartels are making pills look alike what pills you really take. So a kid can have a bare aspirin in his pocket. What do you oh, it's just aspirin, teacher. And it's not. That's,
Yep.
The sun's up on that issue.
Yeah, they've been stamping out pills for a long time too, and drugs weren't really part of my past, but boy, what an education in the last 7 years. The things that happened. I mean, they're cutting fentanyl. I mean, or even now xylazine into other drugs for weight. This is the stuff that's killing people. This is the drugs. I mean, I heard someone say a couple of weeks ago, gentlemen were trying to get into detox. I said, his name, and I said, when was the last time you used? Oh, yesterday. Well, what are you using? Well, fentanyl, but it's not even good fentanyl anymore. I'm like, what? What is good fentanyl? And a couple of years ago, it was the same type of scenario was you can't even buy good heroin anymore. Like, what's good heroin? Because they're cutting it into other substances that are being substituted by it because it's man-made and it's easier to get. And they're producing it cheaper. So it became fentanyl. And then carfentanil was around. That was the stuff that was killing the prison guards and the police officers and the first responders getting through their gloves, seeping in through their skin. And it's just brutal. And now they're cutting it into marijuana. And now just within the last month or so, they were talking about vapes, putting this stuff into vapes. And you watch the people who are dying from these overdoses. And although the numbers, according to the district attorney, the numbers in Greater Lowell are down significantly, but nonetheless, people are dying because they're buying drugs, and what they're ingesting is not what they think they're ingesting.
And that's what Brian O'Keefe talked about a lot, Bob. Remember the different pills and cutting things down, and
There you go.
and it's
Tom,
scary. It's scary.
My dad bought a bar, I think it was 1980, the Gorham Tap, and I had to run it for about 7 years at night. I didn't know what I was doing. My friends are all coming to celebrate that we bought a bar room, and I'm free pouring.
Oh, jeez.
Well, Tom, I'm talking 1979, 1980, 81.
Yeah.
We didn't know any better. We want to give our friends and our customers every bit we can give, because they're giving us money, right? Free pouring, like mad. We have improved over the years. The bar rooms and the restaurants know not to do that. You can't do it.
Oh, no.
We used to, nobody brought in more money than my Uncle Bill down at Johnny's Bench, let's say, okay? Nobody. They couldn't hire any female that could put more money in a register than my Uncle Bill. But at that time, that's what was going on, free pouring. Put your head back, McGillicuddy's. Almost killing people. That's after 7 years, I started to feel bad because I can tell you right now, the Gorham Tap and people that know it and hear about it, many of those people are gone. Gone. My age and younger. And whole families are gone. No, I'm not. I'm just saying to you that I'll stick to this to the day I die. Drugs are a real bad problem, no doubt about it. But don't ever underestimate alcohol.
Well, you got to ask yourself, what good other than surprise children, what good comes out of alcohol?
Not much. A lot of violence comes out of alcohol. I would say more violence with alcohol than you do with drugs, other than the gangs that are using guns. But alcohol just takes out the worst in a lot of people. It's just tough.
Bob
It's
brought it
a
up,
tough
Bob.
thing.
Bob brought it up, Bob. What do you see more down there, alcohol or drugs, as far as, is it even the addiction, or do you?
The
get
younger
more-
kids, it seems, there's a lot of codependency,
Okay.
meaning it's both.
Okay,
Anybody, honestly, boy, under 50, probably has some sort of codependency, or not codependency, but have at least dabbled in both. See, the older people, the 50 and up people seem to be more alcohol, long-term alcoholics that have been in the program 20, 30, honestly, I said it earlier, some as many as 50-plus years.
yeah,
We have a picture of a guy in our lobby, Bob B., and 59 years sober
wow,
when he passed. We had a mercy meal for his family at the Bridge Club.
sure,
Some people, their whole lives are centered around recovery, and places like the Bridge Club, like the Lowell House, that's their center of existence. And so
my wife lost two brothers to alcoholism, and remember my brother Pat, he drank, and then he straightened out. He straightened out a good 2 or 3 years, and when he straightened out, he looked good. He has, and then he went off again. He died of it. We found him. He passed away from it. It just he was so good, but for that period of time where he straightened out his life, he was looking good. He was down in Florida. He was working. And then it just fell apart on him
And
again.
am I glad they do something about gambling?
Yeah.
Because gambling is what affected my family more than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, gambling's an issue. I see people now scratching $50 scratch tickets, $30 scratch tickets.
Yeah.
Did
Never
you hear
mind.
did you hear one of the lottery instant games is going up to $5 a ticket in April? The Mega Millions or something.
Yeah.
One of those $5 a ticket. I mean, yeah. Ugh, it's a
And
lot.
don't forget, Drake, it pulls in more lottery money than Lowell.
I know.
Imagine that, Tom.
Yeah.
You'd
I
never-
tell you why, because and Pelham will tell you that they pull in more than some of their communities because they're right on that line. Meaning like the state line markets and all that, because it's right on the line. It's,
Yeah. A lot of money spent on that, so it's a lottery do. What are they?
Well, you guys a lot of Keno down. Well, I know you're not involved as much, but you must have a lot of Keno down there at Coils. I'm talking about.
It did, yeah,
Yeah.
they do quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've been kind of out of that for the last
Yeah.
5 or 6 years, but, I mean, the money that comes through, and I mean, it is pretty bad. I mean, you see it, people come in, and again, it's codependency, sitting at the bar, drinking and playing Keno. And not a dollar here and a dollar there. You're talking some serious money. That's why the lottery exists. That's why
I see.
Vegas is there. I
Yeah,
mean,
I-
let's think of it. I mean, think about it. Vegas has been places like that, Mohegan, Foxwoods, what have you. They're built on people's losses. That's what they rely on.
Even the variety stores. But I mean, I know
Sure.
you walk in, you almost see the same people buying their scratch tickets,
the
and they
time.
go out to their car, and then they go back in. They win 100 and spend 50, and then they're going to spend that other 50. They'll take the 50, but the lady told the ones at the variety store, these are going to come in and spend that 50 later on once they lose. You know what I mean?
The carrot gets dangled, right? You see somebody with a big win, why not me? The possibility is there.
Yep.
So maybe I can find a way out of this hole I'm in by spending more money.
Yeah.
Just digging the hole deeper
Yeah.
and deeper as you do it.
And people have lost their homes to gambling and their families to
Yeah.
gambling.
No
So
doubt.
You know what else you must get hit with, Bob, now and then when you see someone come to your programs and do so well, and then the next day you hear they passed away? That has to hit you.
It
Not-
does. It affects all of us because we know, but for the grace of God go I, really. I mean, it's true. They call it relapse for a reason. It's always a danger. It's there. And like I said earlier, an alcoholic or an addict is an alcoholic or an addict till the day they die. They might not be active, but that propensity for alcohol or drugs is there. And, people, long-term sobriety sometimes, it's tragic, Bob. You see someone goes out and they just cannot get back in, and it's ego and it's pride and it's, the fear of being, rejected by the rest of the group, which that fear is it's not founded well because it doesn't exist. That negative feeling about someone who comes back in after relapse does not exist. It's all in people's minds. And that's the disease, playing games with people's minds.
Is there such a thing as, my father-in-law, again, going back to my wife, was an alcoholic, 40 years sober. When he died, he was sober 40 years. Now, he didn't, I'd kid around with him about it. He said, I still miss it. But if he had one glass of scotch, is that it? Or could he just have that one glass of scotch and walk away?
That's the,
He'd go right and fall back in a-
that's the,
That's a tough question.
that's the danger.
Okay.
You know, that's the bait.
All right.
You know, and it's.
So there's no chance of him just having that one glass of scotch?
You know what, is it worth chancing it? I mean, it
Yeah.
isn't to me. It
Yeah.
isn't worth chancing it to me.
Yeah. Because even after 40 years, you might say, oh my God, how did I drink this stuff too? You could say that,
Yep,
you know?
yeah, but that's the gamble, that's the disease giving you the thought, geez, I've been sober so long, maybe I can have just one, and you
Yeah.
know what? It's just not.
Doesn't happen.
Chances are it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I know some alcoholics that can't even smell it. They smell it, they have to leave the building. Tomorrow, City Life, we got Linda Bound's gonna be the host, City Councilor Corey Belanger's gonna be here. Retired State Senator Phil Shea, he's
Phil
gonna be
Shea.
here. Time is short, Bob, so we wanna talk about, the big event this week, please?
Sure, yeah, I'd appreciate it, John. Again, so this is this Thursday night at Lindsay's, and Bridge Club is honoring City Councilor Rita Mercier as our Person of the Year. Really want to come down and show you support for Rita and the Bridge Club. Tickets are still available. And we have Steve Sweeney, Boston comedian Steve Sweeney, as our keynote speaker. Steve Sweeney, by the way, has 34 years of sobriety, which really kind of blew me away. I didn't know that. So that's going to be an interesting duo, those two. But tickets are still available, so please come down, support the Bridge Club, support Councilor Rita Mercier. You call the Bridge Club at 978-454-6191. Again,
more
that's
times.
978-454-6191. I'll go on the website, www.bridgeclubofgreaterlowell.org, and there's a QR code, or you can do the scroll down and bring you to the event. You can purchase tickets online.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, John.
Well, again, Bob, thanks for everything you do, and I know I'm glad the Bridge Club is in Lowell. It's too important not to have something like that going, so let's say one thing about, I think it's Jarvis family?
Yes.
Is that the building you're in?
We are. We have Peter Jarvis and family are our landlords. They've been great to us, especially early on, but they've been big supporters and continue to be. So they're a big part of the reason we've been successful in that location.
Yeah.
So,
Did you know my friend Andy Rourke,
of course,
Yeah.
Lenny Scott?
of course.
I could give you a list of names that I worked with all those people, and they were tremendous
guys.
people.
Great guys.
And I know that they'd be excited to see you do what you're doing right now, so.
They were a big part, both those guys were a big part of my brother's campaigns early on in the 80s.
I remember that.
Yeah, Andy and Lenny both. And
They're a big part of me getting that pension I have there, Bob. That's why I mentioned their names.
yeah,
And Andy Rourke was something else.
I'll never forget the night your brother won that rep race in 1984, 82, whatever.
First
year it
one?
was. Yeah.
82.
And go into the East End Club. They just parked in the middle of the street was all blocked. Nobody
Yep.
was parking. The
Yep.
whole street, you couldn't get down the street after you. If you parked in the middle of the street and the place was hopping. I was down there with Jack Lyons and that crowd. And,
Yep,
oh, it's-
sure. I was at City Hall that night with Joe Tully's office when the roads came in.
those were the days that I went down there with Dickie O'Malley, God rest his soul, former counselor. But yeah, those are the times when politics was fun. It's not fun
A lot
anymore.
of fun, that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't mention the girls that do take the clothes that when you go down to the Bridge Club, they're just really friendly. It's an easy drop off. And
Yep.
I'm glad you mentioned that. And that, because I didn't finish when I said Bob McGuire's the guy that turned me on to the place.
Yep.
And I'm glad he did because I have so many friends that have issues with drugs and alcohol. And I think I turned a few people on to your place, that's for sure. And I think if we all do that to our family and our friends, say, hey, go to a meeting, go try it. I wanted to go to a meeting about gambling years ago, but I just stuck to it, and my wife stood by me, and I've stopped gambling. You'd be surprised how fast you can come back to normal if you give something up. That's all I'm saying. And I've seen so many inmates in my lifetime just lock them up. 3 months later, you can't believe how great they are, in good shape. the body comes back fast, but like you said, it's in your mind constantly. Any addiction. Like right now, I want a fig square. I really do. And
We got
Tom
some
brings a
walk
box
in
of
there.
donuts.
Walk in there.
You know,
Say goodbye, boys. We
Good.
gotta go.
McDonough didn't
Thank
have a
you.
donut this morning.
thanks for watching. Thanks for
Have
coming,
a good
Bob.
day.
Well,
Thank
good
you.
luck Thursday. Thank you.
Yeah.